People buy guns for various reasons, but regardless of the reason, the average person owns a gun for self-defense. Well, you never know when you will need to defend yourself with a gun. So to ensure you have no regrets, you might want to have the right gun for the big moments. Now, just like its name states, a home defense gun was designed to help people stay safe in the face of an attack on their homes. Interestingly, as simple as this might sound, not every home defense gun actually offers buyers the protection that they crave. Some are just completely useless, and if you must avoid them, you must know some of them. From the classic Derringer to the Ruger Super Red Hot Alaskan. These are the most useless home defense guns that people still buy. The Ruger Super Red Hot Alaskan 4.54 Castle isn't a bad gun by most standards. As a matter of fact, if you need a revolver in the wild, it might come in handy. Unfortunately, we can't say the same about needing a gun in your living area. This gun wasn't designed to be used to deal with threats from humans, and there are several reasons for this. To start with, this gun is probably as heavy as a revolver can get. It can weigh up to 44 ounces, but isn't limited to this weight. Its exact weight is a lot dependent on the length of its barrel. Since the barrel that comes with this gun adds to its weight, some folks might want to choose a version that comes with a shorter barrel, as this could make it compact. Nonetheless, you might never be able to conceal it as it wasn't exactly designed to be a compact gun. With the Ruger Super Red Hot Alaskan comes 6 rounds of 4.54 Castle. This cartridge has a reputation for its recoil and can make follow-up shots very difficult. So it just isn't the right fit for a home defense weapon. We could literally end things at this point, but if you think this gun isn't ideal for home defense because it is big, you are wrong. This next gun is small. Nonetheless, you will be making a mistake getting it for the sake of defending your home. This gun is small, and you might easily assume it's the perfect gun for anyone who needs to get a home defense gun. Shockingly, this is far from the truth. Well, the fact is, it is a perfect pocket gun, and this is definitely a feature from which a home defense gun could benefit significantly. Sadly, it might just be the only positive feature in this gun for someone who's looking to get a gun for home defense. The classic Derringer is small and lightweight. These should be features that make you comfortable, but they actually come with a disadvantage. There is absolutely no magazine capacity with this gun. It was designed to hold just 2 rounds. So imagine getting into a gunfight right in the middle of your home, shooting 2 bullets, and looking for a safe space to reload under extreme stress. You see, owning this gun without having to use it might seem okay. However, as soon as you are faced with an issue, you might start realizing how impractical it is. Using the classic Derringer is relatively easy, and even a newbie in guns can get the most out of it easily. However, it doesn't have the power that is recommended by several instructors. That's not all. It uses a single action trigger. This means you will need to do more than just pull the trigger when shooting. This is definitely not something you would look forward to in a life and death situation. The best guns for home use come with very reliable safety features. Interestingly, we can't say the same about this gun. Although it comes with some safety features, they are actually very minimal. Some models simply come with a half-cock notch. Of course, some folks will be comfortable with this, but it is common knowledge that it isn't exactly the standard when it comes to handgun safety. With the Derringer, you should never expect a comfortable shooting experience. That's not all. You also shouldn't expect to be in control. You might be able to manage this. However, it isn't something you want to deal with when going head-to-head with an attacker who is keen on hurting you. At this point, it might feel like you need a better Derringer, but that's far from the truth. As much as a higher Derringer will help you do better, you will not be free from ergonomic pitfalls. According to instructors, when in a home defense situation, you will do well to get a gun that offers more than just 2 rounds. The classic Derringer in itself is a good gun. However, the absence of the proper controls, better ballistics, and capacity make it very unsuitable for home defense. The Derringer is great for concealment. I can drop it in my pocket and it's not obvious that it's there. I figure that most self-defense situations are going to be at close range. You can buy Derringers in lots of different large calibers as well, even ones that use shotgun shells. The 22 mag hollow point is a really fast bullet, and the recoil is a lot milder than a large caliber round. A lot of people think that a .22 bullet isn't very deadly, but it is. A 22 LR round will rip through a sheet of 3/4 inch plywood and keep going. It will actually rip through 2 sheets of 3/4 inch plywood if a gap is between them. Anybody who thinks that a .22 bullet can't kill a person or seriously cause damage is wrong. Of course, it doesn't have the stopping power of a larger caliber because it's a smaller projectile. That's why several folks use hollow points. They flare out upon entry, causing more damage. If a big fat guy is coming at you, then you'd be better off having a larger caliber round. But just the sight of a gun will stop most people. If the aforementioned fat guy does grab you, I can almost promise you that he will let you go if you put a couple of .22 rounds in him at close range. It would be sort of like grabbing a rattlesnake and having it bite you twice. Most anybody would let it go. 22 bullets do come in different sizes. There's a 22 short, 22 long rifle, and 22 Magnum. A revolver or derringer that will chamber a .22 Magnum will accept all other .22 rounds. Many .22 guns that aren't Magnums will use all of the other .22 bullets except for a Magnum round. The exception might be a semi-automatic. I wouldn't use a .22 short for protection, but again, anything is better than nothing. A bullet fired from a rifle is much faster than a bullet fired from a handgun because a long barrel traps more of the gases that push the bullet. Also, a longer barrel is more accurate than a really short one. Well, as much as this is a bad gun for home defense, it is better than nothing at all. If you think the classic Derringer is small, this next gun is even smaller. This revolver has a cute design, which might make one believe it is perfect for home defense. Sadly, its appearance is simply deceptive. And according to experts, if there is just one firearm you never want to use to defend your home, it is the North American Arms Mini Revolver. This revolver is made of stainless steel and weighs about 4.5 ounces, making it as light as a revolver can get. Now, its weight might be great for portability. However, stability will always be a challenge. It gets more interesting. With a single-action trigger mechanism, this revolver might not be the smoothest when taking shots, and this can significantly affect the outcome of a gunfight. With the North American Arms Mini Revolver, accuracy and muzzle velocity are quite a challenge, and this is because of its barrel length, which is as short as 1.125 inches. Additionally, due to its size, achieving a firm grip is super challenging. If you are considering buying this gun, you first have to understand what it is and what it is not. It is not a gun battle firearm, nor something for precision shots. It is what you have for non-permissive environments, which are places that may very well be legal to carry in, but to get caught would ruin you in some way. Very discreet firepower is the name of the game. I've experimented trying to find the most viable way to utilize it and came to these conclusions. It is a gut gun. Jam it in the gut and pull the trigger, and you will have just as much effect as any other caliber. With this gun, you can hit a 12-inch target at 15 feet with surprising speed. Of course, you will need to practice with a single action to get good since it has many unique features, one of which is a zero-slop trigger. Once you fully know your way around it, the micro revolver is just another useful tool in your box to protect yourself. On the plus side, they are very well made, have excellent fit and finish, and are capable of good mechanical accuracy when fired from a machine test. In the real world, the NRLA Mini Revolvers are best considered nostril guns. They are backup to your backup, the last ditch. In a hand-to-hand fight, you shove it in your opponent's nostril and fire. They are handicapped by being slow to load, slow to reload, and with stock grips hard to hold on to. People frequently drop them when they are fired. The tiny grip twists out of the fier's hand. Holding one correctly for a good trigger press, an aim shot is very difficult. They are single action, getting enough purchase on the grip to get enough leverage to thumbcock. One almost always requires 2 hands, or you may drop it. Several cops carry one as a second backup. Some on a neck chain inside their shirts where it won't be noticed, even if they are disarmed and taken hostage. A slim possibility, of course, but if it happens, he still has a weapon. They will take the nostril shot and then take their captor's weapons. The average person would mistake this gun for a good one because of its size. However, this next gun gets a lot of attention because it is affordable. If you are on a budget and looking to buy a gun for home defense, you might be tempted to buy the Jimenez JA380. Well, you might be completely fine after giving in to this temptation. However, you might not live to tell the story if you actually have to face an attacker. You see, to the average person, a gun is a gun. However, that's not how the experts see things. According to experts, the Jimenez JA380 is actually more of a liability. As a matter of fact, you might want to consider it a ceremonial gun. Well, lots of aspiring gun owners fail to see it as the liability that it is because of the price tag attached to it. It is very affordable, and they feel they might as well get it instead of having no gun at all. Seasoned gun users know better than to spend any money on this gun, but folks who are new to shooting might not think about its possible downsides before they spend on it. Well, the fact is, this gun might never impress anyone, regardless of how inexperienced they are when it comes to using a gun. Typically, this gun weighs about 22 ounces. On paper, this seems like a good weight, but things are a lot different in reality. Although it isn't exactly a heavy gun, its weight distribution isn't so great. It actually has quite an awkward feel. Beyond its weight, it has a magazine capacity of 6 rounds of 380 ACP. This is quite modest. Sadly, from this point on, everything else about this gun isn't exactly great. With this firearm comes a strike fire or single action trigger. What you get is basically dependent on the variant of the gun you buy. Well, regardless of the variant you own, you have access to a barrel length of 2.75 inches, and this in itself limits muzzle velocity and accuracy. Furthermore, with this gun being made from zinc alloy, its production process is quite cheap, and this affects the demand for it. However, the material used in making it significantly affects its durability. That's not all. Just like other guns, the Jimenez JA380 comes with safety features, and chief among them is a manual thumb safety. As much as this is a safety feature like some others you are more comfortable with, it isn't exactly as reliable as you might need a safety feature to be. Beyond safety, ergonomics is another factor that doesn't quite work well with this gun. It has quite a blocky grip. Additionally, its edges can cause some level of discomfort when you shoot over quite an extended period. This means you might actually get quite distracted during a gunfight. And trust me, this is a recipe for not defending your home properly. Concealability is one factor that works well with this gun because of how compact it is. However, its dimensions might not necessarily make it work better. As a matter of fact, there have been reports about this gun jamming during use. This might not seem like a big deal if you have never experienced it. However, it raises questions about the reliability of this firearm as a tool for home defense. They are constructed from lower-end materials, which is why they are relatively inexpensive compared to the offerings from major firearms companies. That also means that they aren't as durable as more expensive weapons, and that they cannot be used safely with high-powered ammunition. Basically, their manufacturing standards meet the minimum requirements for their industry, but not much more. If that's acceptable according to the consumer, then they can be considered to be a good buy. Personally, I wouldn't own one, nor would I recommend that anybody purchase one. They aren't necessarily poorly manufactured, but they're definitely manufactured with lower quality materials. I hadn't heard of Jimenez firearms for years after getting into guns. The first time I saw one, I immediately thought, whoa, this is basically a metal version of a High Point, and kept browsing past them. If you're asking for the purpose of being interested in purchasing one, I'd say go for it. They are inexpensive, and if it breaks, it won't make you cry. However, although a gun is a gun, I wouldn't rely on one of those to save my life, nor would I a High Point. If your budget does not allow a higher quality firearm, then Jimenez is not the worst option. But for a few bucks more, you can have a much better quality firearm. Cheap guns are fun to shoot, knowing you don't need to worry about being too hard on them or get upset when they're cosmetically damaged. This next gun is great, but just not right for home use. The Magnum Research BFR sounds like a big gun that can be trusted to keep you as safe as you want to be at home. Unfortunately, that's far from the truth. It doesn't have a reputation for helping you stay safe, And if there is any reputation it has, it is a reputation for making you feel like you just shoved your money down the drain. This revolver comes chambered in the 45 to 70 government cartridge and is basically a revolver that was built to shoot rifle ammo. This makes it seem like a cool gun, but it's nothing like a cool gun. It is more like putting a square peg in a round hole. Folks who have never used this gun might not understand how bad it can be. Well, it's okay to experiment, but you might not want to go as far as buying this gun to know how bad it is. This gun weighs more than 4.5 pounds. While some folks have ample strength to move around with it easily, it is an unnecessary burden for the average person and nothing close to being an agile firearm. The Magnum Research BFR comes in different configurations, and based on its configuration, it can hold 6 or 5 rounds. That's actually not a bad capacity. Nonetheless, there is a problem. Its reload process is so slow, you probably would have had lots of bullets from an intruder go through you before you are able to get back into a gunfight. This is definitely not something you want to experience. If you need a revolver to take down big games in the field, you might do well to settle for this gun. Sadly, it just wasn't designed for indoor use. The implication of this is you should never think about it if you need a gun for indoor use. At this point, you are probably confused because this gun really isn't bad. While this revolver might not be a lousy gun in itself, however, its recoil and muzzle blast can make you rethink your decision to use it indoors. This is because there simply isn't enough space to cope with all it can throw at you while shooting. With each shot of this revolver, you might feel like you're going through some form of punishment. If you aren't used to guns like this, you might feel like your wrists are sore and you have just been hit on the head because of the ringing sound your ears will experience. That's not all. It featured a single-action trigger, which definitely helps with its range. However, if you are looking to have some follow-up shots, it just might mess you up. This is one reason it is suitable for taking down games, but not good enough for exchanging gunfire in a small space. It gets more interesting that this revolver has a barrel length that can be as long as 7.5 inches. This in itself is long, but it could even be longer. Sometimes it is 10 inches long. This means you might feel a bit awkward trying to store it or even move it properly in a tight space. There is more. It comes with a stainless frame, and this is one reason it isn't as light as you might need it to be. Well, this gun might feel heavy. However, its weight is quite a necessity. The 45 to 70 rounds come with a lot of pressure, and you surely need strong materials to handle it. When a gun is used indoors, it needs to be packed with safety features, as you don't know who could pick it up and try to use it. Unfortunately, this revolver isn't rich in safety features. For safety, this revolver basically depends on single-action designs that can only be taken advantage of after some technical hammer manipulation. With this gun comes an oversized hardwood or rubber grip, which can help with recoil management. Although this cannot be swept under the carpet, the recoil associated with this gun is nothing like the average gun that was designed for indoor use. The BFR is a large, robust frame, single-action revolver built to extract every bit of performance from whatever caliber is placed into it. This gun seems like one that mirrors a modern derringer at first glance, but there is a lot more to it. It was designed with the capacity to fire 45 Colt and 410 shotgun shells. So it's a dual-capacity gun, and this is an attribute you should consider a big deal when getting a gun. Although there might be a few special features associated with this gun, it might not exactly be able to cause your attacker a lot of harm when in a gunfight. The Bond Arm Snake's layer is made from sturdy stainless steel and weighs about 23 to 24 ounces. This means it can most likely last the test of time. While this might be a feature you are on the lookout for, what use is a gun's durability if it can't get the job done? This firearm comes with just 2 rounds, so you will most likely run out of rounds before even causing any damage to an attacker. And with this, one begins to wonder why a gun would be produced to have just 2 rounds. As bad as having access to 2 rounds with this gun can be, there are other disadvantages. It comes with a barrel length of 3.5 to 4.25 inches. This means bullets fired might not quite have the velocity that is needed to cause a lot of harm to an attacker. There is more. With this firearm, you will need to endure a slow reloading process. this might be something you feel you might be able to manage, but when in the face of an attack, you might end up seeing how much of a disadvantage it is. This gun might not be one of the best you have come across. Nonetheless, it isn't all shades of bad features. It comes with a couple of good features, and popular among them are its cross-bolt safety features and the fact that a user can enjoy a good grip. The Bond Arms snakes are awkward to shoot, not much to hold on to, and even cocking and loading isn't smooth. However, I'm sure some practice would smooth things out, including holding when firing. I can't recall how much it moves around in my hand though. This is where we draw the curtains today. So, which of these guns do you consider the worst for home defense? Kindly tell us in the comment section below. Before going on, please hit the like and share buttons. Also, subscribe to this channel if you are new here. See you in the next video.